Welcome back to The Right Routine. I am Aster Joel, the Reluctant Writer's Accomplice, and I'm here to help you today to learn how to dictate your book so you don't have to carve out time specifically for writing. You'll be able to multitask and get your book written even on crazy days. Let's begin. So before we start, I wanted to give you a quick update on my own writing progress. I'm working on my 5th book ever, and I've been dictating this one using a recording device. The 3rd book I wrote, I used Dragon on my computer. It's a dictation software that types out as you're speaking. I didn't use that this time because I have small children and I use my dictation device. I keep it in my pocket while I'm going on walks. And I have finished a book much faster than I ever thought I would while having 2 kids. So that's why I think this is so useful, and that's where this advice is coming from. So when it comes to dictating a book, there's a few different ways to do it. You can get dictation device on your computer, so you can speak into a microphone and it'll write out the words you're saying. It's a bit different because you need to include the punctuation and the quotation marks, new paragraphs. So when you're writing while using something like Dragon or one of those other dictation softwares, you will say things like, new line. I thought hard about what I wanted to say to him and came up with something that I thought would be preposterous enough to get him to leave me alone, period. New line, open quote. You look like a clown, comma, one with poor posture, period, close quote. New line. So things like that. That was a ridiculous example, but you get my drift, I hope. And it doesn't take very long to learn how to speak like that or how to write like that. So that kind of dictation software can be very useful. What I'm doing now, like I said, is recording on a little device. What I will have to do is go back and listen to it and type it out. But I'm kind of excited about that because as I'm listening to it, I'll be able to change what I said into a new draft. So the act of listening and transcribing on its own will be a new draft of my story. It'll be the 3rd draft. So I'm really excited about that. I don't see that as being a downside, though you might. So that's something to keep in consideration. Writing books through dictation is also fun if you're a children's book author because those are short. And if you're telling a story to your kids or you're on a walk and you think of something, you can turn on your device and come up with the story and finish it before your walk is over or before your time at the park is finished. Being able to record on a device just opens up a lot more options to you, in my opinion, and that's what I've seen through my experience. So, what do you have to do if you're going to start writing a book by dictating it? First off, you need either a device or software. Software is pretty straightforward. You have to have it on your computer. Some of them I think you can have on your phone and just speak into it while you're hiking, but that's, in my opinion, the same as having a device. So I'm going to speak to you as if you have a recording device where you're recording it onto your phone and you're not stuck in front of a computer, all right? First thing you need to do, you need to buy a device. Usually, these little recorder devices have different folders in them. The one I have and how many of them are set up is they have different folders. So to begin dictating, you pick a folder. For example, it's on mine, there are 5. There's A, B, C, D, and E. So my B folder, I think of book, short books, and that's where I dictate my short stories and my children's books. And then the E folder was the only one that was empty. So that's where my book is in that E folder. Once you have your device and you have batteries in it and you've picked which folder you want, then what you need to do is practice. So start a recording. It's usually with the record button, and then a little light will turn on and you can start recording. Say anything you want. This is just for practice. Record and then learn how to pause it, learn how to stop it, end the recording. And very importantly, learn how to delete it. Because you can delete an entire folder or you can delete just a file. And the files are just the single recordings, the single recording session. And you don't want to delete your whole book. So that's why it's important to practice. Now that you have your dictation device, you know how to use it, and you've chosen which file to use, you're going to make your first recording in one of the files. You're going to press the record button and say, this is the folder for the book called Handsome Vampires. And then you end the recording, just so you know exactly where it is. And you have now recorded your first official recording, so you don't have to be afraid of it anymore. You've already done the first one. And you're ready to start the second one, which will be the actual writing of the book. Next thing you need to do is make a SMART goal for your book. You need to decide where you'll be recording, when you'll be recording, how long you have the goal to record, what book you'll be dictating, and all that fun stuff. And now I have this advice for you. Once you have your SMART goal, you need to choose a dictation shirt. If you're going to be going out and about while you're dictating. If you're doing it while you're washing the dishes, which is very useful, then you don't necessarily need a dictation shirt. I use one. It's just a button-down shirt with a pocket on the front. That's why in my Instagrams, I'm almost always wearing the same shirt. The pocket is where I keep the recording device because it's close enough to hear me clearly, and I don't lose it, and I don't forget it anywhere. So I suggest if you're going to be on the move while dictating, choose a shirt that has a pocket. It's even better if you have a specific shirt that you use, because it becomes part of a ritual. It's the start of your writing ritual. When you put on your shirt, you grab your dictation device and you go out the door. Okay, now that you have your shirt, let's say you're going to dictate as you're going on a walk with your kids. You have your kids in the stroller, you have your shirt on, you've got your dictation device, you're out the door, you've started walking. What I suggest you do is give yourself 2 minutes, or until you reach the corner of your block. Give yourself a specific place on your route where you have to start speaking. Otherwise, if I don't do that, then I get very distracted and I start putting off starting the recording, thinking I have to think about it more, when the truth is you don't need very long to think about it. All you need to do is decide which character viewpoint you'll be using, what the setting is, and what that character is trying to accomplish. And this can change as you're recording. If you decide it needs to be from a different character's perspective, you can switch it in the middle of the scene. It's perfectly fine. No one cares. The only person who's going to listen to this is you. So give yourself a few seconds, a corner, 2 minutes maybe, to plan your scene, plan the beginning of it. You don't need to plan all of it. And then press record. Make sure that the timer has started and that is actually recording. Put it in your pocket, and then you can start speaking into your dictation device. Sorry about my voice. I'm a little sick today. Anyway, know that there will be lots of awkward pauses as you're dictating. Perfectly fine. Perfectly normal. As you're typing this out, these pauses will give you time to think of something new and to change the scene as you're typing it out. So pauses aren't a bad thing. Don't feel bad about them. You might have forgotten names. The first draft of the book I'm writing now, I didn't even know the bad guy's name. I would just call him, what's his name? And I've come up with a name now, but as long as you know who you're talking about, you can mess up the names. It's not a big deal. Again, no one else is listening to this. Stuttering, mispronunciation, changing the plan, changing the scene, it's not a big deal. It's okay. Just keep the recorder on, give a brief summary of, oh, I think we should, I take it back. This scene is going to start from character B's perspective instead. And then you pick up where you left off and you just keep going. Perfectly fine. Once you have reached your goal of minutes, or you finish the scene where your walk is over, then you stop the recording, and then it's done, it's finished. Now, before you put it away, you start recording as quick as you can after stopping the actual scene. Start recording again and say, in this last scene, we have character A and character B at the dinner table. They are arguing, and character B just decided to storm off, and he's thinking about getting revenge and writing a letter to what's his name in the next scene. And then end the recording. So the next day, when you have your dictation shirt on, your kids are in the stroller, and you're going out the door, During that 2 minutes, instead of thinking about what scene you need to come up with or listening to the previous day's recording, you just have to listen to that short recording, be it 30 seconds, a minute, 10 seconds, it doesn't matter. And that will help you to remember what you were writing, where you need to pick off from. After you hear that short recording, delete it. That's why we learned how to delete them earlier. And now you are ready to record a new scene. The cycle just repeats and repeats, and it's never ending, and it's extremely productive and awesome. Okay, once you have that short recording done, then turn it off and pat yourself on the back, because that day's recording, that day's writing is finished. You did it. You can check it off your list. Here are a few helpful tips, things that have obviously helped me. Number 1, make sure you don't forget to make that little recording summary that's 30 seconds to a minute long, okay? That's extremely useful, and it'll help you to come back after a break, and you want that. Number 2, again, don't worry about pauses, don't worry about forgotten names, don't worry about stuttering, just keep recording. It'll be fine. Number 3, don't run out of batteries. If you're low on battery, change the batteries. Number 4, don't lose your dictation device, because your whole book's on there. That's why you should keep it in a pocket anyway. I guess that was number 5. Number 6, if you're worried about people thinking you're crazy because they see you talking to yourself, then put in earbuds and pretend that you're talking to someone on the phone. Problem solved. And our last tip is to keep your dictation device in a safe place where your kids can't reach it. Okay, my kids have just about had it, so let's wrap this up. My inspiring quote for the day is this: change can be scary, but do you know what's scarier? Allowing fear to stop you from growing, evolving, and progressing. And that's by Mandy Hale. So let the fear pass through you. It'll come, it'll go, but don't stop yourself from trying something new, even if it's just a different writing method to get your book finished. Thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful. Please comment below with any questions. And if you know of any authors who you think might be great guests on this podcast, comment below. I would love to connect with them. I really think it would be more useful to have advice from published authors than just from me, so I am trying to get the wheels turning in that direction. I could use a helping hand in that area, so let me know. Make it a great week and reach your writing goals. You can do it. Bye.